Grassroots participation comes in question here because for Alhaji Othman, he's also talked about intelligence gathering. How can the people help out, being someone who's worked with the grassroots?
Pardon?
How can the people help in intelligence gathering in this whole development?
Well, you see, what usually happens at the grassroots level is that the information, the local government chairman should be on the alert that every information, no matter how irrelevant it may seem to you, it is the responsibility for you to pick it up immediately and convey it as a flash report to the appropriate authority. And it is very easy for the local government chairman to set out his own machineries. We did this. Hello?
We can hear you. Please go on.
Well, I was just saying that the local government chairman is in the context of the Nigerian system today.
Okay, all right. The meeting, which is very, very key and important because we have actually seen a whole lot happening, not only within that region, but outside the region, comments and statements from people that is actually, well, instead of bringing everyone together that you want to call uniting us, has actually further divided us. And you say, well, people from all divide should cease forthwith. How can that be? Because this is just not the first time. People have actually made statements and comments asking people to be a little bit careful the way they dropped comments.
Well, there is an end to every game plan. You know, maybe before now, people have believed that they can always pass the ball to the next person that is a soft target for them. But the chickens have come home to roost now, as they say, because even when I keep dodging my responsibilities, it has come to my front and that the responsibility is right in front of me. If, for instance, if I'm a locally based person and I go to my farm and I see somebody stealing in somebody else's farm and I don't report that matter to the village head, and when I'm coming to the farm the following day and I see the same thieves on my farm, it is because of my failure not to have reported that event before to the traditional head in the previous day. And so if the government becomes now conscious of this responsibility and reawakens the system and brings back the traditional values we've had to encourage community living, community engagement and ways of solving problems, we will now begin to have a very That's why I've always been a supporter of having a role for the traditional rulers in this country. Because the attitude we generally have about democracy is that it must be in the copycat version of the American system or the British system and so on. So no, this is Africa, this is Nigeria. And the country is evolving. We are not yet organic in our relationship. All the structures we have today are mechanical, are created by fiats of decrees. So as we move along, if you remember, the local government system seems to be the most organic structure we have. And so if you encourage its existence and give it enough push, it will be able to have the strength to carry the country to its future. So this can be done by allowing the values that are uppermost in the minds of the people to improve, because they have been derobed. The local government system and the traditional system have been derobed of their values into time by all the new things that have come without basis. So if we now move backwards a little bit and reintroduce some of the traditional values that is still embedded in our life system, we'll discover that it is a very useful tool to be able to bring peace, generate economic activity, and sustain security for the community. Because these communities used to exist without these kind of problems before government became a government in the context that we define them today. So it is really, really a very easy task for us now to give value to give back power to where it belongs. Let the devolution of power go to the local government system enough so that people can be encouraged to go back to the local government and live and have a say about how the communities are run. Not to run the country from Abuja, as they always accuse, but I can assure you that the government in the state level are ruling more as monarchs than the center, because nothing happens in the state without the breathing of, in the absence of the breathing of the government. And so it is the responsibility of the states to make sure that all the values that the respective communities have always shared are encouraged to bring. And the department now, the national orientation agencies, the departments of culture and so on and so forth, can now have a field day of activities to perpetually reintroduce some of the values that the traditions of their respective communities have always valued. And it will help in securing the peace.
Well, very quickly, tell us how correct this is. The states, are they truly in charge of security?
I believe the states are in charge of security because at the only point you start hearing about conflicts of interest when the aspect of security is mixed up into politics. If the state government takes the responsibility of security in their hands, there would have been a continuous flow of information sharing, intelligence sharing, negotiations on how to solve problems between different tiers of government before events erupt to a level where you start saying the IG is giving instruction to the commissioners in the state. In the first place, the commission in the states reports directly to the governor in the state. He may not be taking order today from the government, but if there has been, in all my knowledge of what happens at local government and state government security problems, there has always been a synergy between commissioners and the state government. It is when you overplay the politics about security into it that you start seeing that the professional policeman begins to withdraw and starts to look for where to report to outside the structure that he is posted to operate. Otherwise, on a daily basis, his first report is on the table of the state governor. So I think we can improve on that and find the spirit of saying that the government is the responsibility. It's his responsibility to secure the state, not to secure the party in which he represents or secure the interests of those whom he thinks has brought into power. We have to now really allow the spirit of responsibility to come forward instead of the fiscal thing that we have always felt to just please a few hands. So I think the security still remains the responsibility of the state governors, and they can do a lot together with the state commissioners without necessarily looking for complete independence of security for themselves, for now. But
well,
if we encourage the government takes if the state government, hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hello?
You've made quite a number of recommendations in terms of what should be done to empower the local government, and thankfully Alhaji Othman is here and he's a delegate at the national conference. Possibly one of the things that will be discussed or is being discussed there is the devolution of power to state and local government. But in the meantime, while we're waiting for the conference to come up with its recommendations in terms of how they intend to do that, what do you think can happen with orientation, especially at the grassroots level?
Well, that's what the orientation is all. That's what I was saying. For instance, if I have my way now, I could say that the director of National Orientation Agency should become a ministry, because we have lost a lot of very valuable values, traditional values that has kept our communities intact. And if the federal government makes something like creates a Ministry of National Orientation, it will give emphasis that will replicate something at the state levels, and therefore you will have an army of establishment that will focus on how to encourage the sustenance of the values that our people have always cherished into time. We are caught in between now, we're neither in Europe nor in Africa. And it's giving us this approach to issues that have no foundation, and that's why we're losing everything. So I think the orientation programs can be redesigned. Instead of ad hoc meetings and ad hoc activities and town thing, for publicity and so on and so forth, we should now have a long-term program that the orientation agencies can now be on daily basis among the people, reintroducing the values that those same people, those same communities have always cherished in the course of time. And that's the project that maybe the confab should be able to look at. And just on a long shot, I've heard that one of the committees was saying that the confab, the local government should be substitute to the states. We'll be losing the structure that will keep this country alive. If you, hello?
We can hear you very clearly. Please go on.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that if for any reason, you can take a look at that, what South Africa has done. South Africa has strengthened the existence of local government councils. Why? Because the local government systems today are the only organic structures every community has. And the states that have been created are mechanical boundaries. So if you want to give life to this country, you must go back to the respective countries. We can create more local governments and also ensure that these governments are independent enough to encourage people like me and you, presenters, to go back to your village and live your normal life as your parents had done, but with improved availability of infrastructures. But so for anybody to start thinking that we tinker with the idea of taking back local government into the states, you would have been killing the very spirit of the existence of this country. And the states will never act properly as a federating unit without independent, sufficiently independent or autonomous local government systems across the country. Because I want to restate, the states are mechanical creations. Sufficiently, if you identify every local government, you discover that the people are organic. They have a relationship that transcends the creation of a local government system. And so if you encourage the existence properly, you would have been placing a platform that you can build upon into a country, and it can be an ideal or a Nigerian version of a federating unit. Not going to the dictionary to pick the meaning of federating unit because it's convenient for us to promote certain values and ideas now, and think that you discontinue the existence of local government and push it to the state, and so the state do one. We are not yet matured for that. So we should not look outside. We should look inwards and see how to best to do with what we have as our strength.
All right. Well, we'll pass your message to Alhaji Mahmood Othman, who maybe will in turn take it back to the conference here. Well, we have to thank you as well for speaking with us today. That's Jibrin Sabo-Keana, former chairman, Keana Local Government Council in Nasarawa State, and also former National Publicity Secretary of the Association of Local Governments of Nigeria. We also have to thank you for your patience today on the program. Well, we'll be back in just a moment.
Anytime.
Please join us again.